Alright, everybody move out the way. It's time for the yearly Yap Sesh. Every single year, possibly multiple times a year, I always do a quality of life video of some kind. Talking about things that I hope Grand Summoners adds to the game, or just a bunch of issues that we have that need to be resolved going into the new year. And this time around, my list is overall shorter than how it is usually, because a lot of my quality of life wish list has already been addressed during live stage events, or they're features that are on JP that just need to be ported onto global. But with the return of Mines, it's made me want to talk about quality of life changes again, and ways to just overall improve the game and make it more fun, more engaging, and of course more enjoyable. Now, it's no surprise that Mines is the reason why I kind of wanted to do this quality of life video again. Since I've been playing it so much, it's made me realize that the Mines is in desperate need of a rework or some kind of change to make it a bit more fun. The Mines in the beginning was overall kind of cool because it was a brand new game mode, we'd never seen it before, but with this age, it's definitely kind of overstaying it to welcome to an extent. A lot of veteran players just aren't even participating in the Mines anymore, or they're just doing like the bare minimums to make sure they at least get their flux drops and maybe a few crystals to hopefully get Goku. I hate to break the news to you, but you're not getting Goku. I would love to see different scoring for harder bosses or more quote-unquote sustained bosses. The ones that are included here are like Marzex and Styria. These bosses take about 2 minutes to complete depending on what team comps you have. Of course, if you have like the brand new Platina for Marzex, then it could be a bit shorter, but overall for the average player, you're gonna be in this fight for a good bit. The worst part about it though is that even if you go through this entire fight and you achieve that hard fought victory, you only go up by like +1 or 2 on the grade. It feels terrible to even do the fight, but you don't want to lose your grade or wind up going down a floor in the mines. The best thing for this, I think, would be scoring these almost like an Omega fight, where Omega fights, whenever you beat them, usually always are guaranteed to go up a floor. It may not be a complete 1-to-1, but weighting Marzex and Styria a bit more than other fights would make it to where these guys are going to be more desirable whenever you see them, especially whenever you're climbing up because you want to progress as fast as possible, and it will just improve the feel when you see him pop up like 3 times in a row because for some reason he just loves showing up all the freaking time. Most game modes in GS are endurance tests, and it's true. Sure, the Mines is difficult when fighting certain bosses or if you're a newer account, but I'm more so talking about people who've been playing the game for the last 8 months to a year plus. Now, there are many ways to change how people perceive this mode, like buffing the rewards, which I think is the simplest way, but it's also just a band-aid fix, because how long till these rewards just seem a bit redundant, you know? They don't seem as good anymore. But I think there's a way for us to fix this game mode, just a little bit. It may still be a bit of an endurance test, but it's something else, you know, adding a bit of spice to the game mode. And what I'm proposing here is adding a brand new system into the boss rush mode. You know it, I know it, we all love it. Roguelike mechanics. Now, I know this has been done with every gacha game under the sun, but think about it. The mines always reset you back to floor 10 when it comes back around. Why not add different buffs or grade points or whatever when fighting certain bosses? It would be awfully cool if when you fought an Omega boss, you were able to get a buff that would give you DR, more damage, or a brand new unique buff that could make a team comp possible now. And for all my people out there like, oh, but the lore, the story, you gotta think about the story. If they wanted to tie it into the lore in any way or try to make a story out of these changes, they could just say, when you're mining, keep a lookout for certain crystals that bestow you with powers while you are in the mines. Boom. Easiest way to put it into the story. And they could have Arcana come in and be like, yeah, I've made a discovery that there are certain crystals in the mines that buff you or something, you know? You see, this is the easiest addition they could ever do. This entire thing would just make it to where it's more enjoyable for vets and new players alike. Like, you could get buffed up and you make units crazy strong and you just go through it. Now, the last thing I want to talk about concerning the mines is the fact we can't refresh or search for the friend unit we need at that moment. This should have been with this mode from the jump, but for some reason they haven't added it, nor have I ever seen them mention this. You know how many times I needed a Uppies Roy and then I proceed to not see him for the next 5 floors? Great gaming experience. And when it comes to the search feature, they already technically have something like this in the game, just in your unit box. If they could port the tag feature into a friend search, where, oh, I need like this type of Archgener and I need them to do this, this, and this. You know, you pretty much fill the criteria of what Uppies Roy does, and then boom, there he is. You can select him and now you have him. This would help out so many people, especially all those people who are endlessly grinding the mines and don't have every single unit at their disposal to where they can just easily switch everything out. Now that's all that I gotta say about the mines. And the next quality of life that I'm gonna be talking about is kind of for all aspects of the game. This one though is one that I've mentioned before and would improve every game mode this game has to offer. Reduce the amount of reward screens we have. The worst thing about this game is when you're farming the mines or cresting and you have to go through multiple reward screens just to continue playing. In reality, these reward screens take longer than some quests, especially if we're talking about regular old events here, that your playtime consists more of you looking at menus than actually being in the game. If we get an option to either remove the reward screen entirely when looping, for an example, or getting just one page that summarizes everything would be so much better than what we have now. Please, I'm begging you, there's no reason I should be looping Oldius, killing him in 3 seconds, and the reward screens alone take an extra 20 seconds to get through before I can get into my next run. Forever summons. You love them, I love them, they're great. But they need a change. They need a way to guarantee the unit you are looking for. With the FS list ever increasing, it's becoming harder and harder for you to get the unit that you want. Especially if you are more of a seasoned player, the FS barely does anything for you anymore apart from hopefully ironing out your collection, which it hasn't done that for me in the last 3 Forever Summons. Since we already have the reroll option in the game for Forever Summons, I don't see why we don't have a feature that is a select who you want after you fill this bar up at least 2 to 3 times. At that point, the player has been logging into the game for majority of the Forever Summons duration, so it's not like this is a thing that could be abused by rerollers, and it would just reward players for logging into the game, showing a bit of appreciation for their dedication. In my head, this just makes sense, but of course, logic and gotchas never go hand in hand. Now, to wrap up this yap session, with the final quality of life, that is something this game has needed since its birth: distinct art gauge icons. Now, I know they added typings to the game with the tag system. You can now go into any unit in the game, look at the tags, and you can instantly see what archgen type they are, which is great whenever you're building a team and you have all the units at your disposal. What I'm proposing is being able to see different art gauge typings in-game through icons. Now, they can do this by either color coding certain icons, which I think would be the easiest, because it's just like, oh, don't match the colors. If type A is red and type B is blue, then don't match them, right? Of course, this raises an issue for people who are colorblind and everything, so they may have to implement certain colorblind options. But they didn't want to go the color route. They could also go with the lettering route, where they are able to letter like F and then the art gauge icon, or E and then art gauge beside it. I think something like this would be really cool, and just giving the players more information is never a bad thing. Not to mention, it would help out all you new peeps out there whenever you see stuff and you're like, oh, how do I tell if these guys aren't the same archgen type? Well, now you don't even have to look at the tag system. If you're in a quest, you just look and you're like, oh, this one's red, this one's blue. They stack with each other. I would also argue that just giving players more information in general in the game is really nice. I saw someone in my chat the other day ask, how can I tell if a boss does physical damage or magical damage? And they have added to where whenever a boss arts, you can see the symbol beside their art, which is a great feature and that works. But the fact that you can't even see that before you get into a fight is kind of a little weird. It'd be cool if you could check the detail screen or something else and you'd be able to see at least what the boss does. Or maybe they could have a little icon beside the quest to let you know, like, hey, this boss does physical damage, this boss does magic damage, this boss does typeless damage. All that type of stuff would be great just to have in the game. Of course, though, you guys let me know down below what you all want GS to add quality of life wise. We do these annually, and it's very cool to always look back and see if they added anything whenever I make these videos. Fingers crossed this year is filled with a bunch of quality of life features and a ton of meaningful updates to this game because it desperately needs it. But hey, you guys please leave all your comments down below. I'll be reading all of them. And maybe someone from the GS dev team will click on this video and read all of them too. Either way though, thank you all so much for hanging out. It's been your boy P. If you enjoyed this video, I highly recommend check out this video popping on the screen right now. It's my who to save for the year of 2026. If you are curious about that, click on it. I'll meet you over there. But before you leave, don't forget to drink water.